My subject is STEAM. What is STEAM? STEAM comes from the original STEM, which STEM, of course, stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. To make it STEAM, you add a little art. When we look at the sciences, this could be something like biology. You can be studying anatomy, zoology, physics, chemistry, all these different sciences. We can look at to it. And of course, we're encouraging children to ask questions, to observe, predict, and explain their ideas. And this helps develop their skills of scientific inquiry. Technology can be as simple or complex as necessary. It's simply the tools that we use to acquire new knowledge and make work easier or perform a job. So this could be simple like crayons, scissors, or a clipboard, or more scientific and sophisticated items like digital cameras and tablets. Software videos and other online resources are complementary to learning about a topic. Engineering. Engineering challenges children to use their creativity and practice critical thinking skills by encouraging them to solve practical problems using technology tools to design something better. So you might give them a task to engineer something to divert floodwaters or to help avoid erosion. So this is where they have to think critically. And it does require trial and error. And they may need to look at science and do some research using the technology we mentioned earlier. Art. Performing arts like music, visual arts, and dance help promote creativity and problem-solving skills. We call this constant dialogue between eye, mind, and hand critical thinking, critical making. And the fine arts do have a huge role in science and engineering. If you look at even your basic textbook, we have to draw out plans first and think about whether or not this is going to work first. And it is a lot easier to do a drawing and try to solve a problem than trying to build a thing and decide, oh, that did not work. Trying to figure it out in a drawing often helps us think about our different ideas. And we can also see the different ideas of other people and their viewpoints. Math. Foundational math skills include number sense, measurement, patterns, and sequencing and data analysis. And it's especially necessary in STEAM. So if we're doing a STEAM project, when we're looking at science, we need to be able to look at data and comprehend what it means. So that's a huge skill that all works together. Pros and cons. The good and the bad. Pros. For STEM educators, art is viewed as a way to make mathematics, science, or engineering more engaging and attractive to students, especially students traditionally underrepresented in STEM disciplines. And as an art teacher, I realize that art often overlaps with other disciplines. We can learn, be inspired, and even use such studies as science, technology, engineering, and math to help create our art. And we can help solve problems using art. Cons. This could be a question of depth or breadth of knowledge. A student will learn to look at a concept in many ways and learn to think more like a scientist. However, it requires more time. So fewer things will be covered in the school year. So that is, of course, one little con here is because we'll have so much focus on one concept and learn it fully that we won't necessarily have time to go into such depth in other areas. So that could be the con depending on your viewpoint. Impact. What impact does STEAM have on each of these areas of influence and vice versa? Well, politically, we look at different laws like No Child Left Behind, Every Student Succeeds Act, the Next Generation Science Standards that have come out, and of course, You look at the local Board of Education groups passing down professional learning opportunities to teachers to learn more about implementing STEAM strategies in the classroom. There's so many different things politically that are going around so that students get the most out of their educational time and that they are receiving a quality education. STEAM is a big talking point these days, especially because it does have a huge impact on our future and helps us become viable competitors in the growing technological world. Cultural. STEAM promotes students of all backgrounds to be creative thinkers. And when students from different backgrounds come together with STEAM, they bring their unique cultural identity with them and they contribute from their personal perspectives. If we look at STEAM, there's a lot of things going on here in global world too. If we think about different things that are going on, science and technology are working together, as well as art and design, to even work with geologists. So they've recently developed LIDAR, which is laser radar, basically to help discover new areas. So that can kind of re-evaluate cultures too. So it's neat how STEAM in the real world is making huge cultural waves and impacts. And in our educational world, we see our students having their unique backgrounds and bringing it to the classroom and being creative and showing their skills. Societal. With global competition rising, America is at a critical juncture in defining its economic future. I believe that art and design are poised to transform our economy in the 21st century in the same way that science and technology did in the last century. And the STEAM movement is an opportunity for America to sustain its role as an innovator of the world. If we think historically, STEAM is not a new concept. It's one of those things that overlap. If we look at great artists, for instance, like Leonardo da Vinci, even at that point in time in the Renaissance, he was really a STEAM artist. He was science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics all rolled up in his artwork. And that kind of education is important for our students today so that they can be competitive in the future. So it does have a huge impact, and it will make an impact on our culture and society as we go forward. Family and community. With so many resources available, STEAM projects can be done with family. Local communities are also promoting STEAM education through local libraries, science centers, and places like the Magic House. STEAM education can be as simple or complex as one wishes to make it. It is adaptable and can give something special for families to do together. A lot of families also do get a lot of joy to do those projects with their young ones, especially because it gives them something to do that is educational, but can also be a lot of fun. These are my references. STEAM has a lot of potential to prepare students for the ever-changing world we live in by promoting creativity and critical thinking skills. The important thing about STEAM, I believe, is that it inspires students to think critically, to think about problem solving, and to ask questions. These are important skills for students as they become adults and as they grow, they need to develop these skills. So this is a very good program and model, in my opinion. Overlapping with the STEAM, of course, is the next generation science standards. I mentioned this previously, but it is a project-based framework that could fall within the realms of STEAM. Students learn about scientific concepts and are asked to solve real-world problems using science. This often promotes students to use skills mentioned in STEAM but also to use it in a relevant and real way for them. A lot of students are asked questions about real world problems and are encouraged to design solutions using scientific information that they learn in the books before, kind of like in the flipped classroom model. But it also promotes them to think the way that scientists think, the way that engineers think. And that's a great skill set for students to develop, because this will help them be competitive in their future.